Hello friends, I welcome you all to this online session of drama. In this session or in this semester, we are supposed to learn types of drama, and this is the first prescribed topic for you. So we are discussing this type of types of a drama. Let us continue. Etymologically, the term genre is taken from the French language and it means type, kind, or form. So, meaning of dramatic genre, what do we mean by genre? Genre is a French word and it stands for kind, type, or a form. So, in simple words or simple terms, you can see dramatic genre means type or kind of a drama of dramatic composition. So this is what you can see, tragedy, comedy, tragicomedy. You can see how drama is composed, whether it ends tragically or whether it ends happily. That defines the type of a drama. We will understand it in detail. It is not so simple or it is not very difficult. But we have to be very particular or we have to be very sincere to understand the types of drama. And while understanding the types of drama, you should understand the differences between the types of drama. So let us continue. So drama is grouped into a distinct types. This distinct is very important because distinct, you can see, distinct means every dramatic type or dramatic genre has a different set of characteristics, and as they have a different set of characteristics, you can see we are categorizing it with a separate nomenclature, that is a tragedy or comedy or a tragicomedy. So this is distinct is very important. So drama is grouped into distinct types because it is different from other types. Tragedy is not similar with a comedy, or comedy is not similar with a tragedy or tragicomedy. So it is a distinct one. It has a distinct identity as genre. So drama is grouped into distinct types, kinds or categories because there are qualities that are common to all dramatic compositions. Of course, yes, when we were categorizing a specific play under a nomenclature or under the category of a tragedy, it means it shows association or it shows affiliation to a set of rules or set of distinct characteristics, and as a result of that, these distinct characteristics reflected, explored in the play allow us to categorize it under that title. So this becomes very important to understand. So uh, there are also qualities that make each composition unique. It is these similarities and differences that determine each genre. Of course, yes, these distinctness, these set of characteristics allow us to categorize or make a category. So when we are thinking about tragedy, you can see tragedy carries a certain set of characteristics. And when a play associate or when a play explore these characteristics, you can see we were categorized it in a tragedy. So this is what you can see is the dramatic genre or dramatic type. It is defined, it is determined with the similarities and differences. For example, if I want to define a tragedy, I will came across certain place, I will select certain place, I will see certain similarities in it, and with these similarities I or these similarities are not found in other plays. So these four plays, five plays are distinct from the other plays. So as a result of that, what I do, I make a category of these four, and I select a nomenclature, that is the title or the name of the category, that is a tragedy or comedy. So in this way, with the help of similarities and with the help of differences from other dramatic types, we define or determine the type of a drama or determine the genre of a drama. So this is what. The dramatic genre includes, see, tragedy, comedy, tragicomedy, melodrama, drama, sorry, drama and mime. So we will read or we will discuss all these things. There is one again, a farce or slapstick comedy. We will discuss while discussing the comedy. So see, tragedy, we are familiar with the words tragedy and tragic, as they are associated with misfortune. Of course, yes. When we see a misfortune, even in general, many times we use it is very tragic. Even this word can, you can see that its intensity depends on its user. When we are watching a IPL match and Dhoni was stump out, you can see how it is very tragic. So, or when we see an accident and the driver is killed in it, we say it is a tragic one. So you can see the intensity of a tragedy vary from uh, user to user. So tragedy is very familiar to us. We were using it in your day-to-day life. But tragedy, as we were discussing here, is not that simple word that we were using in our colloquial language. But tragedy here is used as a name of a category, name of a dramatic type, name of a dramatic genre. So the simple word that we were using in our colloquial language, that it is a tragic, or he is stuck with a tragedy, that is not so simple. You can see it is a well defined, distinct dramatic genre which has a very illustrative history from a Greek drama to the modern drama. So tragedy, usually they are used describe personal misfortune that do not concern the rest of the society. Tragedy is always, many times we were using it for the personal connection. For example, the background breakdown of a marriage or death of a dear one in an accident or even a natural causes could be described as a tragic. So as I told you, this is a word that we use in a day-to-day life. We use it in a colloquial English. So also some public events that are unpleasant, like the assassination of head of state or a political leader, natural or human disaster like earthquake, flood disasters, plane crashes, and other such disasters are referred to as a tragedies. So all these things, you can see we were defining the word tragedy, and we were making a distinction between the word that is used in our day-to-day life. All these two meaning that we learn here are the meaning associated or in used for a common purpose. It is not a tragedy that connote the dramatic type, but it is a tragedy that connote to a such a kind of a tragic event or misfortune of a person. So this is what you can see. In this unit, we are not concerned with the tragedies or tragic events in our daily lives. Understand that this is the difference. But as they relate to dramatic compositions, but we are supposed to understand a dramatic composition that carries a particular set of characteristics that essentially allow us to define a distinct dramatic genre which is called as a tragedy. So tragedy, according to Oxford English Dictionary, so we will understand the definition in terms of a dictionary. See, is a play of a serious or solemn kind, a very sad event, action, or experience. So this, though it is a very simple definition by Oxford English Dictionary, you can understand that it is associated with sad event, or it is associated with the misfortune. So this is the first indicator of a tragedy. So we should understand that this is when we watch a dramatic composition that ends with a misfortune, ends with a tragedy or tragic action or tragic event, we call it as a tragedy. In simple word, uh, Sukhant and Dukhant. These are the two Marathi words we generally use. Sukhant, सुखाने अंत होतो आणि दुखांत दुःखाने अंत होतो. Sukhant ends with a happy moment, on happy note. They lived happily afterwards. And Dukhant, you can see the death or tragic event of happened in the life of a protagonist or the character. So you can say this is what a Sukhant and Dukhant, and this tragedy is associated with a Dukhant. So the last part of the definition explains why the word is used to describe misfortunes, natural or human disasters in everyday life. However, we will be concerned with the aspect of a definition that sees a tragedy as a play of a serious or solemn kind. It is not a light, it is not meant for laughing. It is not, but it is meant for lamenting. Understand that this is a play not for the entertainment. It is not for laughing. It is not a hilarious one, but it is a tragic. We are not happy with all these things. So tragedy in drama is believed to have originated from Greek worship of Dionysius. Dionysius is a Greek goddesses, or sorry, Greek god. So tragedy is a drama is believed. So you can see, as I told you, this dramatic tragedy is such a dramatic genre that has a very illustrative history from Greek drama to the modern theatre. So this is what the origin of a tragedy or the beginning of a tragedy, we may say. Tragedy is a drama is believed, so it is, we cannot prove it that drama tragedy begin with the Greek worship of Dionysus, but it is believed. All the critics, scientists, scholars think or believe that this is not a fact, but this is a belief, and therefore it is called as a believed. Tragedy in drama is believed to have originated from the Greek worship of a Dionysius, the god of wine and fertility. The Dionysius is a god of wine and fertility. During the festival, the Dith Ram, a caller lyric in honor of a god, is sung and danced around the altar by 50 men dressed in a goat skin. Goat was the sacred animal of the god. This is perhaps from where tragedy got its name, because in Greek, tragedia, what is tragedia meant goat song. So tragedia means a goat song. So you can understand that this is a cultural event in the of the ancient Greek culture, and in this ancient event of a Greek culture, they worship a god called as a Dionysius. This Dionysius is a god of wine and fertility. And during the festival of this Dionysius, what these people do, these people sung and danced around the altar by 50 men dressed in a goat skin. And this goat is called as the tragedy got his name because in Greek tragedia meant goat song. Tragedia meant goat song. During this song, a story about a god was improvised by the choral leader. Choral means chorus, choral leader. But later, Thepisis stood out and instead of singing in honor of a Dionysius, song as Dionysius. So this is what everything is related to a cultural event of a ancient Greek culture. So, however, the song continued, but a minimal part of it was acted by one actor. As the time went on, the spoken part was increased, and Achilles added a second actor with Sophocles. This who is Achilles? Achilles is a Greek dramatist, ancient Greek dramatist, and his play is Sophocles. So Sophocles added a third actor. So this is what you can see. As time go, it is developed into a modern, uh, modern form that we called as a tragedy today. So as the time went on, the number of a chorus decreased gradually as a more actor increased. So this is what you can see. More actors start playing on a stage instead of a singing, and in this way it becomes a dramatic composition. And this dramatic composition gets its name as a tragedy. The tragedy was born. So in this way the tragedy was born. So actors start playing, so it becomes, instead of song, it becomes a dramatic composition, as characters were playing a role on a stage. The scope of the play increased as they started including myths concern other gods. So this is what, though it is the festival of the god of wine and fertility, that is the Dionysius, you can see as time goes, the people, actors, dramatists start enacting myths of other gods. So in this way you can see tragedy was born. So the play became popular that by 534 BC, the state gave official recognition to tragedy and instituted a prize for the best tragedy presented at the annual Dionysian festival. So you can see this is again a social event that promote, that help to develop a tragedy. So tragedy is the most esteemed to all the dramatic genres. It has attracted many definitions and rules. From the day of Aristotle, who is the first person to write on a circumstances of and what tragedy should be, to the present day. So this is what you can see. This is a dramatic genre. Tragedy is the most esteemed genre, dramatic genre throughout the history. As I told you, it has an illustrative history from the Greek uh, drama. So there, as I told you in the last session, that if you are interested in reading a Greek drama, you can purchase it from a government printing press, where this Sophocles and all other Euripides and all other Greek dramatists were collected in a book. Or there are four books, I think, and four dramatists published by Sahitya Akademi, and it is very cheap. I think the one book is for 30 rupees only, so you can purchase it, you can read it. So tragedy is the most esteemed dramatic genre. It has attracted many definitions and rules. From the days of Aristotle, who is the first person to write on circumstances of and what tragedy should be. So Aristotle in his Poetics write about the tragedy. He define it, and he tell that what tragedy should be, and that is very important, that someone, when someone prescribes something, then it means he created or he promoted a specific type. So what should be in such a kind of dramatic composition is written by Aristotle in his very influential, important, seminal book Poetics. So according to him, in his Poetics, see, tragedy is an imitation of an action. Tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, in language embellished with each kind of artistic ornaments, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the plays, in the form of action, not for narrative, through pity and fear, effecting a proper purgation of these emotions. So this is the definition by the dramatist, and this definition is in fact, you can even understand this definition of, if you put it here, the definition of Aristotle, uh, definition of Aristotle, you can get the video on YouTube. So this is what you can see. So we will discuss this definition of a tragedy in the next session. Only one thing you have to do: go through it, read it again and again, and try to understand every word. Go to the dictionary and try to understand the every word. Get the meaning of embellished, ornaments, purgation. Read all these things, understand the meaning of the, check out the dictionary meanings of all these uh, words, and in the next section we will discuss what exactly Aristotle mean by all these definition. So we will stop here. See, in this session we understand that uh, what is a dramatic genre? We understand that genre is a French word that stands for a type, kind, or form. We also understand when discussing this, we also understand that tragedy, when we started discussing tragedy, and we understand that the word tragedy or tragic that we were using in our day-to-day life is totally different from a tragedy when it is used as a dramatic genre. So we understand the different distinction. Then we understand a definition by Oxford English Dictionary, and we come to know that, or one pointer that we came across or we get is that it is not a happy or it is not a lighter, it is a darker. It is meant, not meant for a laugh or happiness, but it meant for lamentation, it meant for a meant with a sad events. So this is what we learn. We understand the origin of tragedy, and we understand that tragedy is originated in a Greek culture where the people sung song to a goddesses of a wine and fertility, that is a Dionysus. And this god, when they were initially they sang in chorus, but afterwards they start enacting the myths of a Greek gods. So this is what the origin of a tragedy. And afterwards we came across that this Aristotle, another Greek scholar, defined tragedy in his text or in his book treatise Poetics. We also read the definition of a tragedy, and we decided that in the next session we will discuss this. I give you a homework that go to the dictionary and check out the difficult meanings, meanings of the difficult words from this definition. So we will stop here and continue the same in the next session. Thank you for listening.